Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Emily Cantrell with Matlen Silver. I want to thank Kia for that awesome morning keynote. I feel like we could all just get in a circle with our coffee and work out who we want to be in the world for the rest of the day, but I know we'll press on with the agenda. But I did want to share real quick my story about who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a doctor for years and years and years, and pursued that even into college until I had advanced chemistry, and I had a very senior male professor who every day of that class made me distinctly feel like I did not belong. And I opted out. I quit. And I think just what we're doing today in community to help create that sense of belonging for women in technology, even though we are minority represented in the field, is so critically important. And we're thrilled to be here today with you in community to celebrate the advancement of Women Plus in technology. So thank you for coming. Thank you for braving the rain. Thank you to those who are tuning in online. Special shout out to the working moms who are virtually schooling their children, or let's be honest, if they're in pajamas in front of Disney Plus all day, there is no judgment in this room, because I'm pretty sure that's what my kids are doing right now. So just thanks for being here. We're Matlen Silver. We're a technology staffing company. I'm curious if there are any current or former consultants in the room. Anyone started their career in technology consulting? See a few hands. Yeah, awesome. Well, our job is to help put consultants to work for Fortune 500 companies. I'm supposed to slide here. There we go. We're headquartered in New Jersey, but we have a team of about 120 people who work together to place exceptional talent in markets across the country.
My name is Allison Messana. I'm the Regional Sales Director here for our Charlotte and our Raleigh markets. I too wanted to be a culinary director back in the day, but I, again, had to do math class, and that wasn't something that I was very keen on going through, so I opted back. But really just wanted to help change the world and be a leader in this industry, not this industry, but in a industry in general. And I think as leaders here at Matlen Silver, we're definitely accomplishing that. So. Awesome. Welcome. So the staffing and recruiting industry, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they place over 3 million temporary and contract employees per week, which is an incredible number. I did not know it was that high. Here at Matlen Silver, we're on track to place over 2,000 resources here by the end of 2022, and we have over 350 of those workers working here in the Charlotte market today. So we are women leaders in this industry. When I first started here at Matlen Silver 8 years ago, my boss was a male, his boss was a male, and his boss was a male. But now we are 4 hardworking moms in this industry hustling to make a difference in the Charlotte market. We have leaders across our entire company who are women. We've been working very hard at making that a part of our environment, and we want to partner with you guys today to find out strategic openings on how we can advance that into your partnerships. So did you know that 60% of staffing and recruiting workforce is women? At Matlen Silver, we want to advance the growth of women in technology, and it is our mission to be a partner with our clients and reimagine the way we work, not only to be more diverse, but more equitable and inclusive. Today, we want to share some trends and insights and have a great conversations about what we can do as individuals and as teams to help move this effort forward. Our topic for this session is how talent acquisition teams and contingent workforce programs can partner to create strategies to support and grow Women Plus in technology workforce.
So real quick, contingent workforce programs is a fancy way of saying, right, the function in an organization or a company that works to place temporary workers. So you'll hear us say contingent, consultant, temporary kind of interchangeably, but we're talking about like the non-full-time employees that make up an organization and the work they do. And we first want to share some relevant data with you to kind of lay a foundation for why this is our topic. And I don't think it's any surprise that over the past few years there have been unprecedented changes in the way companies are making up their workforce. Last week, some colleagues and I were in Dallas at a national staffing industry conference, and the topic of the conference was how change is leading companies to look at more universal workforce strategies. So simply put, right, you see the circles on the slide, those are traditional silos for how talent can come into a company. You can come in as a full-time employee, you can come in as a consultant, maybe you work for a McKinsey or an EY or a Deloitte and you're coming in as a third-party contractor. Historically, those have been pretty siloed and kept separate. But what's happening now, because there are talent shortages and companies are trying to be more strategic in how they just simply get their work done, is that the lines between these funnels are starting to blur. And this excites us in the staffing industry because we believe it creates more opportunity for innovation and the influx of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives throughout all these areas of work. So we'll have a little school today, and you can't really see this slide, but we're going to share some data. If anyone knows me, they know I love data. So right now, and why this is important to us as a staffing company, is that the staffing industry, the contingent workforce, is rapidly growing. So it is up 10% this year to date from last year in terms of people who consider themselves in this contingent workforce. You hear the terms gig economy. These are people who essentially are selling their talents, right, to a company for a period of time. And right now, 1 in 4 people in a corporate workplace, usually for large corporations, this is mostly where this data comes from, 1 in 4 of their workforce is considered to be in this contingent talent pool. 80% of large companies surveyed plan to expand that in the next 5 years, and it's projected that by 2027, close to, 38%, 36% of a company's workforce will be considered part of this contingent labor pool. So this is an increasingly important population for companies to consider when they're thinking about how they get their work done. What does this mean for women, right, who may see themselves as, hey, this could be a great opportunity for me? Well, right now, it's still challenging. You may have also heard that during the pandemic, 2 million women exited their jobs. We have since been crawling back to pre-pandemic levels, but the dudes have been doing a little bit better. So by February of 2022, they had basically made up for their job losses. By this summer, they had exceeded them. Women were still behind. It has been 2.5 years. I just saw the Bureau of Labor Statistics data this week that said women have finally returned to pre-pandemic levels in the workforce. 2.5 years later, we're back to where we were in 2019. Let that sink in. It's almost 2023. So it's taken 2.5 years for women to make an equal return into the workforce. Why would this be? Well, I could tell you some of the reasons for me, and this is no surprise today, particularly relevant today, that a survey recently found that 62% of women reported taking on the entirety of childcare for families with kids under 12 during 2020, during the core pandemic years. Right? Raise your hand if you were like me, 2 kids at home, full-time job, childcare's closed for 5 months. Oh, that's cool. We'll just create this whole new reality where mom is a worker and a teacher and a mom and drinks a lot of wine at night. Yeah, so 22% of dads, and I will shout out, my husband stepped up today, he's taken one for the team, right? We have great partners in our lives and they should be celebrated, but the fact of the matter is, women are looked to first to be the caregivers. Deloitte does this awesome study every year. You should definitely check it out. It's the Women in Technology Workforce Study. They recently found that 53% of the women that they surveyed reported higher levels of stress in the past year. A whopping 46% felt burnt out, 33% had taken time off to deal with mental health, and 40% of women who have changed careers recently cited burnout as the major reason for that change. Right? We're feeling it, ladies.
Oh, yeah. So right now, especially for today, for a lot of the moms that are at home, women are saying, whoa, slow down, but tech is not stopping, it's only heating up. The demand for tech jobs increased during the pandemic by 2.1% from 2020 to 2021, but women's participation decreased. Sadly, we saw this trend in our own data at Matlen Silver. Pre-pandemic, the breakdown of women representation across our Matlen Silver spectrum was 46%, which is a pretty fantastic data point given that we are in tech. Sadly, over the pandemic, as the pandemic raged, we saw that our data plummet to nearly 30%. It was a devastating reality. Fast forward, and women's progress is coming back, steady but slow. And over the next few years, Deloitte forecasts that large companies will continue to increase the percentage of women in over technology roles to 33% and core tech to 25%. But I don't think anyone in this room thinks 25% is winning in that. What's even crazier is that 13% of the U.S. Chief Technology Officer positions were held by women in 2020, while Black women made up just 3% of that computing workforce. 3%. So what do we do about this? How can we work together to create meaningful and enticing opportunities for women to re-enter the tech workforce? And how can contingent staffing partners assist talent acquisition teams in meeting their goals? I would also like to note that and mention that while we can't legally count your contingent workforce as your employees, we are seeing an increased number of conversion opportunities for some of these. For example, we've been partnering with a local financial services company to host talent fairs for their talent acquisition programs that is strategically placing consultants in highly needed positions with the intent to convert them to full-time after 6 months. Over 35% of these resources so far in this effort for Matlen Silver's partnership have been women, which is incredible. We believe there's a huge opportunity to help build stronger bridges between two talent populations, especially since a lot of these resources are being asked to comply with vaccine mandates and back to office requirements.
So today we're going to wrap up by sharing some opportunities, right? If you're in talent, HR, contingent workforce management for a corporation, we really see opportunities for our industry to be stronger partners with you in considering how to increase the percentage of women in your technology roles and increase the diversity in your overall workforce population. We want to move from these kind of reactive to more proactive strategies, and there are 3 ways that we're going to talk about that today. There's one trend that we're really excited about in the industry, and that is that a lot of companies are starting to move their contingent workforce programs, or the people who are responsible for kind of contract labor, out of their procurement department, the department that would purchase things like laptops, pencils, right, into their human resources or talent function. This makes sense because consultants are people, they're human beings, right? And they should be aligned with the function in a corporation that focuses on human beings in their workforce. This is exciting for us because we think this also opens up opportunities to extend diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging initiatives more broadly into this kind of consultant working population. The second is companies are making immense investments, right, in this work. And we are proud of that. We want to proactively partner. Our industry is doing a lot of work in this as well. And we think there's huge opportunity for us to be partners to make the most of this investment. But we want to understand proactively your culture, right? So an opportunity to come in as that strategic consultative partner and say, help us understand what you're trying to accomplish through your diversity, equity, and inclusion goals, and let us apply that strategy to how we're sourcing talent for your company as well.
The second opportunity or best practice we can incorporate to make change is proactive and innovative hiring strategies. Like Emily mentioned, we want to help move from reactive to proactive hiring strategies for consultants, but need your help in doing so. We can improve the way we proactively communicate about your driving factor if we understand it on the front end. Is it time, money, diversity, inclusion, all of the above? We can co-create a strategy for success if we're included on the front end of the conversation. Now, I know this is easier said than done, but what are some small things we can help in this effort? We can edit entry points in job descriptions. One of our local clients here at Charlotte, they scrub their resumes of all of their names and the educational information before they even look at it. So when hiring managers are looking at the resumes, all they see is the experience. We've seen other clients incorporate aptitude tests or assessments into the hiring process to potentially make up for the gaps in experience. We've also seen clients take a different approach and partner with Matlen Silver to take someone on a little more junior. We have an Excel program here at Matlen Silver that helps excel, a chance to excel in their career at more junior talent partners. So we partner them with someone that we already are working with that's a little more senior, and then we're able, at no cost to the client, help move that person along in their career and help advance them. So we have some of our clients taking advantage of that program as well. We can also provide the right applicant pool. Full-time applicant pools are much larger than consultant applicant pools, and a lot of times our recruiters are limited to the amount of candidates that they can submit per role, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 submissions per opportunity. It is statistically proven that males have an advantage in those hiring pools. For example, if there are 3 men and 1 woman submitted to 1 position, that female has a 0% chance of getting that job. Not 25%, but 0. Of course, hiring the best candidate is the optimal outcome, but we have to be aware of the statistical barriers for women and be diligent in making those hiring decisions to try and break them. Lastly, we can open up more non-traditional pathways for your consultant workers. Many of the companies in the room have made incredible investments, like Honeywell, in early talent programs, partnerships with boot camps, etc. Oftentimes, these applicants are from underrepresented populations in technology. So there are huge opportunities for contingent workforce suppliers to partner in early talent and rotational programs that would open up more doors for entry into their organization. I say we in all of this because it is a we effort from both the talent acquisition partners and the contingent workforce programs to work together to create a strategy around how we can better serve the Women Plus in tech and bring more opportunities for inclusion and advancement.
And in that true spirit of partnership, right, our third best practice is when we are able to successfully place a woman into a consultant role in a company, how do we then set that person up for success? How can we partner on mentorship, career development strategies, and how can we also create a workplace that helps set that woman up for success? So survey after survey. Does anybody feel like women in the workforce have been surveyed a lot lately? Every time you open LinkedIn, there's another survey telling us like what we need in the workforce. But it's good. We need our story out there. But survey after survey demonstrates the number one thing women want in the workplace is flexibility. Hard stop. The Mom Project is a really cool group that works to promote working moms in their careers. And they recently did a survey that showed the top 3 things women want in the workplace are flexibility, career development, and to see diversity and inclusion in action. So flexibility, right? It's a well-known strategy that technology companies, many companies, but particularly technology companies during the pandemic opened up their boundaries and started recruiting remote workers to help increase their diversity of their workforce. A lot of companies, as you can tell by the skyline, have focused on the Southeast because in the Southeast we have naturally higher rates of diversity in our workforce. You may not know that North Carolina has, over the past several years, been ranked number 1 or number 2 state in the nation for the percentage of women in technology. We currently sit at about 36%, which is a few percentage points above the national average. So that's good. We have momentum, but we need to sustain it and grow it. And one way to do that is to look at the ways that we're returning women back into the workforce and making sure that things like childcare and the early child care industry crisis that we're currently facing are taken into account in workforce strategies. Another fun fact is nationally there are 74,000 fewer early child care workers than there were pre-pandemic. So anyone with kids in an early child care environment feels this burden on just managing their day-to-day life and getting themselves either in front of a computer or their bodies to a workplace on a daily basis. And men aren't feeling the same pressure. So LinkedIn did a survey that showed July of 2021, the percentage of men that had returned to an on-site workforce, it took 6 months, so July of 2021, 6 months later, for women to make that kind of parallel return to being able to go into a workplace. And that's largely because of the data we previously shared. Women carry the brunt of childcare. So we all must recognize, right, that when crafting return to work policies, we need to keep certain things like this in mind that women in the industry are facing. The second is career development. How can we partner with our workforce that are working in your organization in opportunities for mentorship, training, help someone understand that they do have a professional network within your corporation, help them be connected to others working in similar roles, and then help us understand if that person needs additional training or development or reskilling to remain competitive in the work that they're currently doing, or better yet, competitive for advancement. And diversity, inclusion, and action, helping create this sense of belonging. Again, not making someone feel like the 19-year-old Emily who was like, I clearly do not belong in this field and in this space, right? That's not the story we want for anyone who enters into the technology field. Some companies are even going as far as opening up affinity groups and other avenues within their corporation to their consulting workforce to help them strengthen that sense of community. And as Ali mentioned, sometimes these can be sticky issues when you're legally looking at a workforce. And that's why it's really important that you have strong partners in this space who understand the industry and can help you navigate these opportunities successfully. So in closing, and I think we're probably at that time, as Alyssa's making eyes at me, as women in technology, we have an unprecedented opportunity to work together to redefine the technology industry for the continued advancement of Women Plus.
Here at Matlen Silver, we believe in this partnership. We've done it internally, and now we're looking to partner to do this externally across all of our markets. Thank you so much for your time today.